In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to rank in the top 3 on Google using this free but weird technique that only takes about 10 minutes to execute. Websites have been seeing dramatic declines in their SEO traffic in 2025 and basically seeing their sales fall off the cliff lately. Why is all this happening? The reasons may actually shock you, but they have to do with 3 very simple changes you can make right now to your website that's going to change everything around for you. Number 1 is going to be all about using AI to create your content without sounding too robotic and without the algorithms catching on to you. So firstly, what I want to make really clear is AI is not here to replace content creators. It's only here to enhance your content, to make it much more digestible, to make the whole process a little bit more streamlined. And if you know how to use AI properly to create content for your websites that you're trying to get Google to pick up, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. So let's go ahead and highlight that process on how to use AI properly to create the content that you need Google to actually pick up for. Number 1 is all about just really the preliminary stage of everything, is when you're brainstorming topics. You can go on ChatGPT, you can go on DeepSeek, any one of these guys. You want to ask these LLMs to kind of give you a list of different topics that you can talk about on your website or your blog or ooh boy, I just kicked it. What you want to do is create a list of topics that people actually want to consume. So go on LLM and say, for example, you're a realtor. You can literally ask ChatGPT, hey, give me 10 underused content angles for realtors targeting first-time buyers. This list alone can give you topics for basically a month that you can talk about. Now, once that you have the topics that you do want to talk about, it's time to kind of do research. The really difficult part about research has always been going through a bunch of different sources or going through a bunch of different PDFs and just trying to organize all those different angles and all the different things that are out there. What we typically do here is if we find like a PDF or if we find like a website or a page that has some really great information and we want to get it organized, we basically literally upload that onto ChatGPT and ask it to summarize all the points that were made in that PDF. So let's just stick to that real estate angle really quickly. So these are the topics that basically that ChatGPT spit out for me. Now I'm going to pick one of these. We're going to go ahead and actually do this live with you guys, okay? Let's just choose one of these, renting versus buying, the math that they don't show you. This is a topic that we're going to go ahead and talk about. So let's just ask Google, renting versus buying homes, what is the difference? Google has also started this AI overview stuff, and you can get some pretty good summaries over here. But what I want to do is I want to do a little bit more research. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link here. So this is obviously a lot of information here. So what I want to do, I want to kind of summarize this information so I don't have to read all of it. I'm going to feed ChatGPT this exact link. Can you go through this and summarize the main points for me? So there you go. This is where we can really speed up some of the research. So now it's given me basically the main insights into what that article was talking about. And we can do this for a bunch of different website articles that we think are very credible. And we could also do it for like a PDF report. You can also upload a PDF report that's like 20, 30 pages, feed it to ChatGPT, like, hey, please summarize the main points for me in a concise manner so I can get the most out of this thing without reading 20 pages. So that's the second thing. Number 3 is we want to find content gaps as well. So tools like Surfer SEO or Market Muse will kind of analyze the top competitors and tell you what they're actually missing. And that is where your opportunity is. So again, what you want to do is basically go on Surfer SEO or go on Market Muse, and they will basically analyze these top competitors from these topics that you want to talk about. And then they're going to go ahead and spit out like, hey, this is where the opportunity is when it comes to SEO or finding those gaps in SEO. This is where you'll be able to rank in a more efficient way. The last thing you want to do is you want to go back to ChatGPT. You want an outline of that article. Again, you don't want them to write the article for you because it's just not meant to do that. And you're not going to rank with AI articles. You want to ask ChatGPT, it's like, hey, this is all the information that I've gathered. Can you create a very effective outline for me that will help me rank for my website? And now what you'll have is you'll have the outline ready, you'll have your topic ready, You'll have the bulk of your content ready. Basically now all you gotta do is fill in all the little nitty gritty stuff, which is actually fill in the paragraphs, write the introduction, write the conclusion. So that's how to use AI to support your content and not actually write it for you. And if you're using AI to support your content, you're gonna have a much better chance at ranking your website than if you just got AI to write the entire thing for you. All right, so let's move on. The second thing I'm gonna show you is how to show up on Google's AI overview. This is really valuable real estate because it's not only just above like organic rankings, but it's also outranking Google's ads, which is incredible. Now, I don't know if it's gonna stay like that or not. For the time being, it will stay like that, and maybe they're gonna transition into, you know, getting ads on top again. But right now, they're really putting a heavy importance on Google's AI overview, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to rank for it in less than 3 minutes. So let's go. So the first thing that you wanna do is you wanna make sure that you're already in the top 15 for something. If you're out of the top 15 for any positions, don't even bother trying to show up for Google's AI overview. You're just not gonna do it because Google's not gonna see you as an authority for that keyword. Now, if you are in the top 15 for a valuable keyword, and if you actually plug in that keyword and it is showing a Google AI overview result, and you wanna show up in that result, then this is what we're gonna do. Number one is all about answering questions directly. Now, gone are the days where you have to pump out like 500 to 1,000 to like 1,500 words and stuff a bunch of keywords in it. Google's AI overview cares about the exact opposite of that now. It only cares about how fast can you get to the point of the query. How fast can you get to the answer of the consumer's query? So for a company like ours, we want to be precise in the question, and we want to be precise in the answer as well. We want to ask questions like, what is EEAT in SEO, for example? And then the answer itself must be only 2 to 3 sentences long. It has to get to the point really fast, because that is the whole point of Google's AI overview. It wants to summarize really large chunks of information into basically 2 or 3 sentences where people can consume it and understand it in a very efficient way, essentially. The second thing that you want to do is you want to add real experience to it. Say things like, as someone who's worked with over 50 e-commerce clients, I found that, and that signals to Google that you have experience in the subject matter. Okay? It's basically another trust signal. You want to basically highlight your experience when you're answering these types of questions that you want to show up on Google's AI overview as much as you can, okay? So try and use sentences like that. Number 3, use natural conversational language. Okay, this is really important. Google is now pulling content that sounds like how people ask questions. So you want to optimize for questions that start with, can I, what happens if, the best way to, things like that. Instead of stuff like SEO tips 2025. That's not human. That's not how people talk. That's not conversational. That's how people search, but it's not a human way to ask questions. So you really want to optimize for these types of questions from now on moving forward, okay? Number 4 is structured data and schema markup. Now, this is really technical and powerful, and if you don't know how to do this, I'm pretty sure you can get your developer to do this. But basically, add FAQ schemas to your blog or to your content pages or even to your service pages. We always recommend that you actually start doing it to your service pages and product pages, because you really don't want to show up for your blogs anymore. Blogs really don't convert very well. So I would add an FAQ schema to your actual service pages or your product pages. And you could add something called like a how-to markup as well. It helps Google's AI categorize your content a lot better. So this is a technical kind of nerdy thing, but definitely get your developer to do it. The content itself is not nerdy at all. I mean, you can make that yourself, but getting the schema markups and stuff, just ask your developer if you don't know how to do it. The last thing I'm going to give you is really important. You have to keep it updated very frequently. Google doesn't want a blog from like 2021. It doesn't even want like your information from like 5 weeks ago. If you do end up on Google's AI overview, there is a really big chance that you're not going to stay there for very long. So like 2 to 3 weeks, it does another update. If it finds a website that answers the question slightly better than you, then they're going to take your spot. So it's really important to always go back, kind of have this content refresh every 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if you're still on Google's AI overview, then I wouldn't really worry about it. I wouldn't refresh the content. If you're kind of seeing you fall in that department, then I would definitely refresh that content almost every month, okay? So super important. So that is basically how you show up on Google's AI overview. Now let's go over the third thing, and this is how to prepare for the future of SEO. The SEO game in 2025 is all about understanding the users, not just algorithms anymore. It's basically understanding humans and human behavior a lot more. Now, they've been transitioning into this for a long time now, but in 2025, it's going to compound a lot more greater than it has been before. Here's some tips on how to prepare for SEO in the future. Now, focus on something called semantic SEO. Instead of like obsessing over one keyword, what you want to do is you want to create content around themes, okay? So for example, if you're into fitness, build an entire hub around home workouts, including like best routines, common injuries, diet tips, recovery tools. Basically, you want to focus on themes rather than just kind of one keyword, and you want to create something called a content hub on your pages, okay? Voice search is growing exponentially now. People are getting a lot more used to basically talking to their phone rather than kind of opening their phone, going onto the Google app, and then searching and typing what they want. They want answers a lot faster, and one of the ways you do that is basically just open your phone and ask it a question. 75% of households now have home smart speakers now. So that means more and more searches also sound like, hey Google, what's the best way you can start intermittent fasting? And how to show up for these types of answers for voice is basically what I pointed out earlier. It really has a lot to do with how you are interacting with questions. You want to create the right questions and you want to create the right answers within 2 to 3 sentences. Showing up for voice is not going to get you a lot of return on your business, to be honest, because voice searches tend to be more informational in nature. And basically the goal of that is just to give you an answer. You can get it like, hey Google, what is this? You know, if I have this type of blood pressure, what does it mean? It's not going to attribute it to any sort of website at the end of the day. It's not going to convert into any sort of real revenue, but it is going to give you a lot of authority in the eyes of Google if you're able to answer these queries in a very meaningful way. And the more authority you have with Google, the more basically keywords you're going to end up ranking for. And naturally, you're just going to end up getting more business from that entire exercise. Finally, the last thing is to diversify traffic. We talk a lot about SEO here because that is what we do. But to be perfectly honest, if we only relied on SEO for our business, that would be a really stupid strategy. We also do Google ads, we invest heavily in meta ads, we invest heavily in email campaigns, we invest heavily in social media as well. We're not just relying on one source of traffic that generates business for us. Even though SEO is our main shtick, we definitely do get a lot of business from it. We also invest our dollars into other things. So it's really important to also diversify your traffic. Even this, like we're really starting to invest heavily in YouTube now because it's just more diversified traffic, more ways for people to find us, just more ways to get us more revenue essentially, right? So we do really encourage you to invest heavily into other forms of traffic as well. Having said that, if you do want help with SEO, we are one of the very best in that. So we can definitely help you with that. But leading into the future, you know, depending on your roadmap of your business, you should always diversify. Now, I'm not saying, now this is very important to understand that you should not be doing like 5 different things at the same time. I would not recommend, especially for a new business, you shouldn't be doing Google ads and then meta ads and then email and then SEO and then social media, because you're really not gonna get, more than likely that's a bad strategy because you don't know how to work all these different mechanisms to your advantage. So you're gonna be wasting a lot of time and money trying to make everything work. But if you are at a point where like, okay, you have a really good system for SEO already set up and it's kind of feeding you leads, now you can take that free money that you got from SEO, start investing in the Google ads or start investing in the meta ads or something. And then once that mechanism is built out and it's automated, then you can kind of start with your email list and building your email list and start the email campaigns, and then, you know, just take it slowly and take it step by step. I would definitely not recommend doing everything at once. I think that's a horrible strategy. People always try and do that and they just end up wasting a lot of money and time because you can't possibly be good at everything. But build these things out step by step and build them slowly and make sure that they're standalone functioning systems where they're constantly feeding you leads and constantly feeding you business. But you got to build them out step by step. So let's recap. Use AI as your assistant when you're creating content, not as your actual voice. Don't let it create the actual content for you, but use it to streamline the content that you want to rank. The second thing is we want to structure content so it actually shows up for Google's AI overview, which is going to be much, much bigger thing as we progress into this new land of SEO now. And stay future ready by focusing on intent, not just keywords. The bottom line, AI is not going to replace content creators. It will replace the ones who don't evolve though. So if you're not gonna get with the program, and if you're just kind of using AI to create content, it's just gonna be a sinking ship for you, and eventually you're gonna be left with no clients because you're not gonna be getting real results. Now, if you got value from this, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button and all that crazy stuff. We're just starting out, so any sort of support would help. And that's it for me. I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care, bye.